Bonjour, ça va? So I decided I should just make a video kind of explaining what I'm going to be doing for the next year. Because I'm going to be doing a gap year and I'm going to be traveling a lot, as I probably said previously, but I don't have a lot of subscribers on this channel, so I didn't think it would be very useful to do a Q&A because I didn't think I was going to get a lot of questions. So I decided to make this kind of like a frequently asked questions that I've gotten just day to day when I tell people I'm going to do a gap year. Hopefully I'll help you if you're planning on doing a gap year too, because I know a lot of people who ask me a lot of questions on how to do it and how do you just, decide to do something like this. So feel free to sit back, relax, put on some music in another window, listen to your Spotify, whatever. I'm not going to put any music in this video. I'm just going to be talking. So I'm going to start at the beginning when I decided to take a gap year. So this was probably like early middle school, I want to say, and it's because one of my older cousins took a gap year before she went to college in New York City. And she really liked it, and since that point I was like, oh, I want to take a gap year too. Like, that sounds like such a good idea. And to this day, I'm so glad I'm doing one, because I really, with the type of person that I am, I really don't think I would have been able to just go into college like summer after high school. Like, that's just not, it's too big of a change for me. I don't think I could just rush into it like that. So now I'm going to talk about my plan for the gap year. So I really didn't plan out a whole lot because I knew I didn't want to do like a gap year program. I decided to kind of go like the independent route, I guess. And I am kind of in a special case because I'm going to be going to France for 6 months and living there, but I already speak French and I'm already bilingual and I already been to France 30 times. So I think that it's kind of a different case for me, just because I'm not going to France to like do cultural immersion. I mean, I kind of am, but it's also kind of just for me to take time by myself to kind of experience Parisian life as an 18-year-old who didn't get to live in France during her teenage years, And also I've never traveled by myself. I've never been alone in a country, and I think that France is a good place to start because I already know it. Like, I think it would be definitely exciting and fun if I had gone to a completely like random country all by myself, but I think that it would have been harder to handle and I needed to kind of take baby steps. So France is great. I have a lot of great memories of Paris, but I've done a lot of the touristy things and I kind of know that side of Paris, so I kind of want to know the insolite side of Paris, like the hidden parts, the parts that nobody really knows about, the hidden gems. So that's kind of what I want to do in Paris. But like I said, I am kind of in a special case where I already speak the language and I don't need to take classes or learn it, or I'm not going to have any like culture shocks, or I'm not going to, not know how to talk to people and everything. Like, I'm fine with that. It's just kind of to take time by myself to do some fun things and just kind of learn how to be independent, I guess. And then I'm trying to go to Barcelona, probably this time with a program. If you've seen my Barcelona video, you know that I had a lot of fun and I really want to go back. And part of me was wondering, like, okay, maybe I should go visit some other part of Spain or some other Spanish-speaking country, but I decided to go back to Barcelona because there's still a lot that I haven't seen, and I think it would be a lot of fun to kind of get to know one great city before doing the other ones. If I went to Barcelona for about maybe 3 months, that would mean I'd be coming back probably in June. And so in June, on the way back here, I could maybe stop in Iceland because I really want to go to Iceland. As far as lodging goes, in Paris, I will be staying with a friend of mine in Paris in her apartment for a couple weeks, just enough time to get settled in and to kind of know, like, find my way around and maybe look for jobs too, because that's the other big thing. I'm kind of worried about finding a job. So I'll be living with her, and then I actually found via a friend of my aunt, there's a woman who regularly hosts young students, student girls and everything, in her house. She actually lives in a really nice part of Paris, where it's just kind of like a neighborhood. Like, it's not really the city part, it's kind of just like the neighborhood part. I'll have my own room and my own kitchen and everything, so I will be independent. However, I will be with a family, and I do get meals, but I still am like separate. So I think that's a kind of nice arrangement. And I have that one reserved for about 3 months, so I think that'll be nice. And then I'm gonna try and find some other arrangement from there. So I don't even have that part planned out. I have it planned out until November. Yeah, November, and that's it. The amount of planning that you put into it really depends on you and what you want to do. And I'm totally fine with not having everything planned out. I am a little anxious about it, but at the same time, I'm not anxious about it because that way if I find something, I can just take it. You know, I'm just going to take whatever comes to me. I'm just going to be kind of like going with the flow. So that's kind of cool. And I think it's good for me to learn how to do that. So the money part of it, I am getting a lot of help from my parents, I will say that. I do want to respect the privacy of my family's financial matters, but I will say that my parents are helping me out a lot. And then this whole summer I was working. I was working about like 4 jobs and like babysitting, little odd jobs that people would pay me to do. In the end, I didn't work as much as I wanted to because that's just how things worked out. But I was working this summer. Like, the goal was to get enough money so that I would have like spending money on me and friends. And then the money that I made, I'm gonna put that into a French bank account and everything, and that's what I'll be using. I'm looking for a job in Paris. I actually somebody called me, and so I have an interview. It's just for like a little boutique retail job, but that's fine. Like, I'm taking anything. Almost anything. So that's kind of that. It depends on where you go, and you'll have to calculate in advance depending on where you want to go, what you're going to be spending and everything. But the answer to that is just work as hard as you can, try and get a job during the year. I just did a lot of babysitting because it pays really well, and over the summer before you leave, just try and make as much money as you can. So now I'm going to talk about kind of the declaration of the gap year, like when you're actually telling your peers, your college, you know, what you're actually going to do. So as far as college goes, here's what you do. You get into college first, so apply. Don't mention anything about a gap year, not even if you're going to use the Common App. Don't say on the Common App that you're going to have an interruption. Just apply as if you're going to go the year after high school. Just do everything like that. Then, when you get into a college and you pick it and you decide you want to go there, like I did, so I just got into the college that I'm going into now. I paid my acceptance fee and everything, so I'm like actually going. Then all you do is you ask admissions who you talk to for the person who's in charge of gap years. That's what I did. I actually went to visit it and talked to a couple of professors, and while I was there, just swung by admissions, and I was like, hey, I want to do a gap year, who do I talk to? And she just gave me the email address of this woman, so I just sent her an email saying, hi, you know, I am half French and everything, I just kind of want to travel, take this gap year to just spend some time by myself in France, I'm just going to do some traveling, and I'll come back for the next year, so I would like to be class of 2020 instead of 2019. And she was like, yeah, that's fine, like that's totally fine. Now, you know, your scholarship was also deferred, so you're still keeping it and everything. And so it all worked out great. I don't know if other places are going to be different, but as far as I know, colleges really like gap years right now. And I think it's becoming pretty, like, increasingly popular. And some colleges, I've even heard of some colleges who will actually defer you and say, we can't accept you this year, however, if you take a gap year and do something interesting, we will accept you the next year. But it's definitely easier to apply first, like while you're a senior. Do all your applications then, and then get into a college, be accepted, all that stuff, and then just take your gap year, because it's going to be way harder if you have to get into college by yourself without the help of your school resources and everything. Like, I don't know anybody who's done that way, but I remember that, you know, my cousin was telling me, she's like, yeah, the best way to go is to just defer and, you know, do all that. Because if you didn't apply to college while you're a senior in high school, without the help of your teachers, without the help of, you know, your support of your peers and everything, everybody's going through the same process, it's going to be a lot harder. But if you're going to plan a gap year, get into college first, and then leave. Now I'm going to touch base on dealing with criticism, because my parents got way more questions than I did about this, but a lot of people are going to be asking you if you decide to take a gap year, like, why are you doing this? Where's this money coming from? Like, aren't you worried? Like, you're not going to finish college in time? Like, how are you going to, you know, get a job, and how are you going to support yourself? Like, is this really a good idea? You get so many questions, and it's kind of annoying and really repetitive, because the same people ask you the same thing. So it's fine, like, if people are going to be like, oh, what are you going to do? Like, that's totally fine. I'll totally tell you what I'm going to do. But then if they start being, like, kind of, you know, cynical about it and kind of skeptical, being like, is this really going to work out? Like, I don't think you're really going to do this. You know, that kind of stuff. That's really, really annoying. But my parents definitely had to deal with way more crap than I did, just because parents on parents talk is very like, well, my kid is doing this, what is your kid doing? You know, that kind of thing. So my parents did receive a lot of, and you're letting her do a gap year? Like, aren't you worried? And my mom was like, no. And she's like, how are you letting her do this? She's like, yep, that's her business, you know. Like, I'm letting her do it. Plus, I have the advantage that both of my parents are, you know, world travelers. My dad did a gap year, actually. He redid his senior year of high school in France, so he passed his bac. And my mom didn't take a gap year, but she left home when she was in her early 20s for the United States, and her parents really weren't happy about that. So I do have that advantage that they're very open about it, and they are totally fine with it. Some other parents are the same way. I have a friend who really wants to take a gap year, but her dad won't let her, and my mom's trying to work on him and trying to convince him that it's a good idea. But you are going to get a lot of criticism, and you're going to get a lot of questions, and I think the key to that is just kind of to block out the noise. Kind of like I tell my underclassmen friends to block out the noise during the college process. Like, that's the best advice that I can give for people just going into college and applying to colleges, is just block out the noise and focus on yourself. Don't worry about what other people are saying, because in the end, it doesn't matter what they're doing. It just matters what you're doing. Honestly, like, that's what it is. And it's the same thing for a gap year. Focus on yourself. You do you. If people have a problem with that, it's not their gap year. It's not their problem. Just block it out. Block it out. Okay, well, that's kind of everything that I can think of. Stay tuned to this channel because I'm really going to do I'm going to try really hard to make videos and make blogs. And I actually got a really nice little notebook from my mom, a little hardcover journal. And I already started compiling like a list of things that I want to do in Paris. Like, I've just been researching like hidden gems, as I said, you know, kind of Paris underground, like the things that nobody really does. And I kind of have just like a bucket list of things. So I was kind of thinking that if there's ever a day where I don't know what to do, I'll just open up the list, find something, and just be like, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go look for it. I'm going to take the metro and just see that thing, or I'm going to do that thing. I'm going to eat at this place. So I was thinking, I think it would be kind of nice to write about it or document it via a video. So I need to start my suitcase. I need to start packing my suitcase. Okay. All right. Till next time. Bon voyage.